I am very well, thank you. Thank
Thanks.
you for having me.
Thank you, sir, for accepting my request and accepting to talk with me.
Not a problem. Not a problem. It's just you'll have to kind of deal with the quality of the video because I grabbed the wrong computer. So it's been a day. It's been a morning already here. So
No, sir, it's very clear. The video is very good.
good, good. So ask away. This is your show.
So I thought to introduce you to my audience.
Well, I'm Winslow Swan, author of horror and mystery fiction. Uh, that's pretty much it.
Sir, you're from?
I live in the North Georgia mountains in the United States. Um, it's me and five dogs.
Okay. So writing is your full-time job?
Yes, yeah, I pretty much have been doing that since. Well, I started my first book in 2007. It was published in 2011. It literally took 4 years to get it right, and I've been writing ever since. I'm working on my 18th book right now.
Which means from 14 years you are writing.
I'm sorry.
Which means from 14 years you are into writing.
Yes, yes, I've been writing for 14 years. Yes.
So before that,
Oh well, before that, believe it or not, I was in a rock band. I had a, I was the keyboard player and lead singer for a band called Triple X, and we were together for about 3 years. And I also worked in radio as an announcer during that time as well. But I've been doing that off and on since I was 15. So
so you was a keyboard player and you worked in a radio, and why you wanted to shift to writing?
uh, well, it's sort of always been a passion of mine. My first story that I actually wrote, I would think I was 9. My my mom took me to Washington D.C. On the flight out, I'm looking down at the city, and I wrote this little short story about a monster that comes and eats the city. So it was just a little 9-year-old thing to pass the time on the flight, and I did write a treatment for a possible novel back in high school, um, and then just decided in 2007 I finally had the time to where I could actually just sit and write and get these stories pretty much out of my head.
So your nightmares.
Yeah, I have some. That mostly that's where the stories come from. Are my nightmares. I've always been in love with horror and mystery and suspense, thrillers, things like that. You can blame all of that on my mom. She'll deny it emphatically. Um, when I was 4 years old, a movie came out in 1969 called Whatever Happened to Aunt Alice. And we had just moved to Decatur. My mom and dad went to the drive-in, and I was supposed to be asleep in the back. Instead, I was like this, with my eyes glued to the screen, watching these horrifying images coming up. And I've been in love with it ever since.
You fear or you want to fear?
I, could you repeat that?
You feel scared by seeing horror
Oh
movies, or you
no!
want to scare
Oh
people?
no! I don't feel scarred at all. No, I'm not scarred or scared. It I would watch these movies and TV shows, but intellectually, I would view them as the director, not so much as I want to be scared, but how could I improve this? Is how I would watch certain things. I mean, I grew up on The Twilight Zone and Night Gallery and Circle of Fear. These are all shows on television, And as long as the story was good, it would hold my interest. As I got older, I would watch, I would continue to watch these kind of movies and shows. And as I said, I don't feel scarred at all. No, my mom was great. She, basically she told me whatever I wanted to do in my life, she supported. And she supported my writing. She still does. I haven't let her read a word of it. Mainly because of her, how to put this nicely, she's very religious, and some of my books touch on subjects that I don't think that she would like too much. So,
but it has led you to these.
Yeah. It's led me to. Like I said, I have 17 books sitting out here right now.
This was my Christmas present.
Yeah. My literary assistant, or literary agent, actually is here, and I got her a copy of all the books as a Christmas present.
All these books are on Amazon?
Yes, everything is available on Amazon now. And then all the ones back here that you see.
This one, though, let him know.
Now this one, The Convincer, this was the first book that I wrote.
Wow.
And I actually put a warning on there that you have to be over the age of 35 to read it.
35?
Yeah, 35, yes. I actually had a reviewer comment on it saying that when the author says you need to be over 35, he means it.
There's a reason.
There is a reason. This is not one you'd want to put on your coffee table for just anybody to pick up. So it basically tells the story of a serial killer. It's not like a James Patterson kind of book where this part's the killer, this part's the detective, killer gets caught. No, the whole thing is about a serial killer, and a psychosexual one at that. So
no censorship.
And yeah, nothing is censored in this thing. I'll let it all hang out. But like I said, this was the very first one that I ever wrote, and even when I started editing it, I had to sort of censor myself. At the time, I was in a rather kind of a dark place, and this is how this book was born.
So first,
so with the serial killer, with the convincer, you want to convince with your expression.
The convincer, yeah.
The convincer is really rough.
It's a very rough book. I've gone back and reread it. And actually, my, she doesn't mind, but my literary agent has a tough time reading, so I created an audiobook just for her.
I'm dyslexic.
Yeah, she's a little dyslexic. So I created the audiobook, and as I'm reading it, I went, wow, I actually wrote that? How did, where was my mind at the time? And now this is the newest one. Bits and Pieces. I don't know if you can see that.
Bits and Pieces, yeah.
Yeah. This is the one that just came out a couple of weeks ago. Basically, this was I felt like I was getting a little far from the just horror and thriller aspect of a story, and I wanted to kind of delve back into that. So this is basically just a pure horror novel about 6 random people that were not chosen by chance, thrown into an extraordinary situation, battling an ancient evil and the man that controls that evil. That's the best synopsis I can give of it.
However, this one has some that can be read by teens.
Yeah, this one, 10 Twisted Tales from the Maelstrom. There's actually several stories in here that could be read, by teens. I tell everyone, if you're going to let your kids watch horror movies or something like that, that's your decision. You have to make that decision because these are your kids. Simple. And I've actually had arguments with people about, well, they should censor this or they should censor that. There was a film that came out a few years ago called a Serbian film. Personally, I've never seen it. I read enough about it to know that's just not my cup of tea, even though it's horror. I applaud the director and the writer of it for going into that kind of realm, and I would never take that away from them. But I also choose not to see it. And everybody can make that choice.
And this is also one that you don't want to leave out.
Yeah, Evil Within is one you don't want to leave out either. It's pretty graphic as well.
Kids don't need to read that.
No.
Adults only.
I'm not the kind of author you want to introduce your children to if you want to get them into horror or something like that.
Well, with the Maelstrom, I will say Puppy is a gentle one.
Yeah. There's a story in here called Puppy, and I put it up on my YouTube channel. I read it for a Halloween broadcast, and it's one that, I would let my grandkids listen to it, and they have too. My son really doesn't hold much back from them. I have a granddaughter who is 11, I think now, and she wants to go into forensic science. So she's already seen things like Saw, Friday the 13th, all those movies.
Oh, tell them about your audiobooks.
Oh, yeah, and of course I have 3 audiobooks out there that was done by a fantastic narrator.
Absolutely.
His name is Edward James Beasley. He's from England. And I'm giving him a plug, by the way.
He's awesome.
He is a great narrator, especially for these type of stories. He has a wide array of voices for each character. I'll go back and listen to, just to listen to them again, just to hear his voice, because he is so very, very good. I've got some of the stories that he did. I actually have up on YouTube. If somebody wants to go check them out.
Yeah, a story per book.
Yeah.
Per audiobook is what you've
there's
done.
There's
so
3
far.
audiobooks, and I did a story for each one. And so they're up on my YouTube. It's kind of a sample, Listen to that story, get the audiobook, and hear the rest of them.
Exactly.
So where this scary horror and fear thoughts, this imagination is coming from?
Where is it coming from? That's a good question. A lot of dreams. I just when I was in high school, my creative writing teacher said that I have a wicked imagination, and for some reason I have a very sardonic sense of humor. It goes towards the macabre. But I think the imagination actually comes from when I was very young. I started a collection of old radio programs from the 40s. And these were mystery and horror shows that they had during that time. And I still listen to them today, as a matter of fact. And I grew up listening to one called the CBS Radio Mystery Theater, which was on in the 70s. And with radio, it forces you to use your imagination. You don't have it all just laid out for you. So if they describe a room, then in your own imagination, you see the room. And I think that's really what kicked off these kind of stories and novels that I write.
And they're not all just plain horrors. They're twisted.
Yeah, most of my stuff is twisted. So,
there's crazy twists in it.
I like writing a story where you don't expect the end. The end comes as just a complete surprise. It may take like a left turn somewhere in the middle of the story, but I want people to look at the story and go, "Oh wow, wasn't expecting that."
So, are you good in without showing the visuals? Are you good in creating the impact?
I'm sorry.
Creating the impact using bullets that you have in your gun called vocabulary.
I think so. Yeah. I think uh, I don't go into over descriptions of things. I mean, I go yeah. I mean, if there's something that's pertinent to the story, um, well, a good example would be bits and pieces. I describe an altar in kind of a little more detail because it is pertinent to the story. But if I say, well, the character came up to a door. Well, you know what a door is. Everybody knows what a door is. I don't have to describe, well, this is it had this kind of ornate carving and all this, I don't have to spend 7 pages describing a door or a room,
Exactly.
You know what a living room looks like. There's going to be a sofa and a table and probably a chair. And that's pretty much it. I don't want to go overboard because I want the reader's imagination to kind of fill in the blanks and to stay with the story itself. I don't have to spend an entire chapter describing a house, unless, like I said, unless it's kind of pertinent to the story. If I say the house is 3 stories tall, it's 3 stories tall.
So, which age group will connect with your imagination?
I'm sorry.
Which age group will connect with your
age
imagination?
group. Adult, basically. I'd say 18 to maybe 30.
18 and up.
Yeah, just 18 and up. I have the a lot depends on their maturity level. I have readers that are, still teenagers. I have older readers that like this kind of stuff, So I don't really target a certain age group. My books are basically for anybody that wants to read them.
And there's more in the 10 Twisted Tales. More
Yeah,
age
they're
appropriate, like some
yeah,
of them.
10 Twisted Tales.
This one.
It has more age appropriate stories in it. Like if you for preteens, teenagers. I mean, I think there's a couple of stories in there that you wouldn't want, like a 5 or 6 year old to read, obviously. But most of them in there are pretty much age appropriate. I'm not targeting like young adults or older people or anything. I try to encompass everybody. Whatever age group you're in, I think you could enjoy the stories.
Yes.
And I try
So,
not to date them,
I'll put your book link in the description of this video. People who find this video will connect. Who are interested in knowing the fear, who wants to get fear, and who wants to feel the horror, they will buy your book.
But it's not just that.
Yeah.
Some are mysteries.
Some of these are just pure mysteries. They're mystery thrillers. I did an actual series, my first series, called the Jake Rhodes series. And this was a private detective. I thought of the character. I thought of a situation. And I thought, well, I'll just write one book. And then it turned into 3 books because the character wouldn't leave me alone. It was like, when's my next story? When's my next story? So I wound up writing 3. So it's more of a detective fiction. It was my first time writing detective fiction.
It's mystery.
These are. It's 3. It's a set of 3 books. Yes, they're available on Amazon. And so they're not really horror per se, like Bits and Pieces or Evil Within or even The Convincer. It's not blood and gore and whatever. And I think there is a place for blood and gore in some stories and in some elements, but it doesn't have to be completely bloody and gory and you
And
know
scary. It
and
doesn't have to
yeah,
be.
scary can mean a lot of things.
Like on the
I
edge
tend to
of your
try to
seat.
go more towards the suspense than well, you know, he gutted the person
Ew.
and things like, you know, and the blood spurted all, you know.
No.
But I like the suspense. I grew up. You know, I told you the first horror movie I saw. After that, it was Alfred Hitchcock, William Castle as directors, um, and I like to draw my audience into that. What's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? Kind of thing.
Yes, you had a dyslexic
And
stuck on this
yeah,
book.
yeah, my dyslexic. My dyslexic literary agent was stuck on Evil Within. She couldn't put it
I
down
couldn't sleep until it was over.
So
It was great. Loved it.
So, at last, do you have anything to say about your work and your books to the world who watches this video from anywhere on this planet?
yes, read them. Please read them,
listen.
or check out the audiobooks and listen.
Winslow Swan on YouTube.
Winslow Swan on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. I'm trying to get the social stuff going. I've written 18 books now.
And you just
I'm
started
a new
social
one,
media.
and I just started Twitter not too long ago. So yes, please check them out. And if you want a recommendation from the author of that would give a good representation of the body of work, I would say 10 Twisted Tales.
Yes.
You know, to start.
It's a mix.
It's short. It's short stories. It's a mix of subtle horror and out horror. You don't have to read the whole thing. It's not a complete story. They're just short stories, and that'll kind of give you an idea of the sort of writing style that I have.
Or the YouTube.
Listen to the ones on YouTube. I recently did a story for a guy named Raven who's on YouTube called 6 Feet, and he compared it to Lovecraft, which I thought was very high praise.
And you wrote it in an hour.
And I wrote this story. It was a throwaway story. I just wrote it in like an hour. I just knocked it out, and he loved it. So,
it was great.
But yeah, look up 6 Feet by Winslow Swan on YouTube, and that'll kind of give you the idea of where my writing style is at.
And Behind the Door.
And yes, and behind the door, that's one of her favorites. Okay, you got to be on camera. This is my literary agent, whether you like it or not. She is my biggest fan.
Hi.
This is Crimson.
Hi.
Her and I have actually collaborated on a book together that we're still in the editing stages. Hopefully, it will be out later this year.
Yes.
So, but
and he's amazing. He really, really is.
And keep the ego going. So yeah.
So it's nice to know about your books, and it's nice to tell about your books to my audience and to the world who watches this video in different platforms.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for having me. I really do appreciate it. And good luck with your YouTube channel. I saw some of the other videos as well over the last few days, and you've got some amazing people on there.
Good job.
That you are interviewing. So keep it up. Keep it up.
So I want to thank your mother for being the reason for a lot of people's fear, because she encouraged you to become an author, writer of 14 books and 18. Yeah, 18.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks for helping. So 18 books.
I'm sorry, I talk a lot.
Yeah. So 18 books. You are creating impact with your collection and with your imagination. So, what is the best response that you got for the book?
What is the what now?
What is the best response that you cannot forget in your life?
Oh, that are my books or something else?
For your books.
My books. Oh, well.
What's your favorite?
My favorite
Yeah, the best
Uh,
one.
mm, you know that's kind of a hard question because they're all sort of my babies. You know, you nurture them and you create them and then you send them out and hope they do well. But if I really had to pinpoint, I would actually say the one I really like it would be the Convincer. Um, this was a character that literally haunted my dreams for several several years actually before I actually had the chance to write the whole story out. Um, and then I guess the other one that I'm most proud of is Evil Within. This is the one I'm actually most proud of. I love the Convincer, but Evil Within is probably the one that sticks with me the most.
And I love the audiobooks.
Yeah, and she likes the audiobooks. All the audiobooks are short stories, so of course. For
Fantastic.
people with ADHD.
Yes, yes,
You can
yes.
hear one story and then put it aside.
ADHD, and I read this whole book
Yeah,
overnight.
overnight.
Couldn't
Yeah,
stop.
you have a good smile.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ta-da. Winslow Swan, YouTube, check him out.
Yeah. So, at last, have you seen any videos of my on my YouTube channel?
Yeah, I saw. I watched the one. I guess the last one you did with the retired Navy colonel. I think it was.
Yeah,
He was in
yeah,
like intelligence and all
yeah.
that. It was a really great interview, by the way. It was a very good interview. He was extremely animated, so I'm trying to kind of top him.
So, can I put this video on my YouTube channel, on social media, on internet, on podcast,
Oh yes,
everywhere
by
with your
all
permission?
means. Yes,
Link
by all
Winslow
means.
Swan YouTube.
Yeah,
That way,
if you put it on your YouTube channel, I'll uh, put it on one of my playlists and then put it on mine, and we'll get everybody.
you guys will be best good friends.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving me your valuable time and spending some time and telling about your work.
You are very welcome, sir. Love to do it again sometime.
Sure, sir. I'll contact you again soon.
Okay, sounds good.
And thanks
Nice
thanks to
meeting
the yeah and thanks
Uh,
to the person who is yeah.
yeah.
Thank you so much, you two, for being on my show and
Very well.
telling me about your work.
You're very welcome.
It was great to
Absolutely.
meet you.
You have a
Yeah.
good day.
Yeah, you do, sir. Keep going, keep doing what you love, and make
He does.
be the reason for the emotion of the people.
I will. I want to give everybody good nightmares. So sleep
Twisted
well.
thoughts.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Well,
It was good meeting
good
you.
hanging.
yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you very much
Winslow
for
Swan YouTube.
everything. Yeah.
Check it out.
Take care.
You too. Bye bye.